What's up? What's happening, folks? Welcome back to the channel, Sports, Life, and Politics TV. I'm Samuel Koppel, YouTube's #1 couch detective. And I'm here for the news. And today, Rudy Giuliani was hit with sexual abuse lawsuit. Now, Rudy Giuliani was once the mayor of New York and was a national hero at one time. I remember when 9/11 hit, the whole world was praising him. And at that time, people thought he could actually be a future president. But as time has went on, he's begun to be shunned by the national media because some of his political views have went against what the national media is into. Now, with the sexual abuse lawsuit, do I doubt that he's a pervert? Allegedly, he probably is. I have no doubt about that in my mind. But any white man who was in power through the 70s and 80s, I guarantee you he didn't pinch your ass. He didn't grab the titty. He didn't say something that was sexually suggestive and something that he probably shouldn't have been doing, dealing with young ladies on the job. Sexual harassment in the corporate world is as American as apple pie. It's something that has been happening for a very, very long time. Now, some women go into it knowing that. They use what they got to get what they want. Some women go into, they don't want it, they don't want no parts of that. They don't want to be touched, they don't want to be physically harassed, they don't want none of that. They want what their work ethic and what they do, they want it to be proved through hard work and dedication. They don't want to be sexually harassed. But, like I said, there are women who use the opportunity of being around some of these men to try to elevate themselves and make money. And then when it goes wrong, years later, then they come out and then say what happened. But there's nothing like telling in the moment. Now, I'm not saying a person supposed to told in 1989, but once 20, 30 years go by, it's hard to go backwards. But this was more recent. This case was a lot more recent with Rudy. And Rudy doesn't have an attractive bone in his body as a man. I couldn't imagine any woman looking at him and getting in the least bit moist. It's just not going to happen. But let's take a look at the clip.
Developing news right now. Former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani is now being sued for sexual assault and harassment. Noelle Dunphy, Giuliani's former...
And as you can see, each year that passes by, he looked more and more like the Penguin. And I've said New York has become the real-life Gotham. Crime and lunatics and wacky people in the subway. And right now what you're seeing, remember the Penguin ran for office? Remember that in Batman? This is the real-life Penguin.
Former director of business development filed the lawsuit today. She says Giuliani made sexual demands and often went on alcohol-drenched rants that included sexist, racist, and anti-Semitic remarks. And she says she has the recordings to prove it. Eyewitness News reporter Lauren Glassberg is in the newsroom with details. Lauren?
And let me say this. They said that he made sexist, racist, and anti-Semitic remarks. So let me say this about a lot of white men who are in power in this country. There's a pecking order among white people. And the Jewish community is at the top. And what they would call the Aryan white man, which I know the original Aryans, I know the history, but what you would call the Aryan white man is below the Jewish white man in the pecking order. And behind the scenes, they hate it because they get dictated to, they get pushed around, and they don't control none of the national media. And they most definitely don't control how politics go. It's like they say, who has the gold makes the rules. That's the golden rule. So yes, behind the scenes, he says all type of things, racist and probably anti-Semitic and sexist. That's not that big of a surprise.
Well, Sade, the complaint is pretty difficult to read. 70 pages of accusations that are at best lascivious. Claims against the former mayor of New York City, a one-time federal prosecutor, that are graphic and deeply unsettling. Noelle Dunphy, seen in this photo with Rudy Giuliani, is now suing him for sexual assault, harassment, and wage theft. Dunphy says she began...
Okay, I got it. Wage theft, that's what this is all about. Giuliani didn't pay this woman properly, because if he did, there would never be a lawsuit. I'm alleging that, could be wrong. Let's keep listening.
working for Giuliani in January of 2019 as director of business development. In the complaint, she says he promised her $1 million annual salary with the caveat that the money would be deferred until his divorce was finalized.
There it is. Until his divorce was finalized. So they entered into some kind of agreement for a sexual relationship, allegedly. You just got to listen closely. That's why I'm YouTube's #1 couch detective. Listen again.
Development. In the complaint, she says he promised her $1 million annual salary with the caveat that the money would be deferred until his divorce was finalized. But shortly after she began working, Dunphy says Giuliani began abusing her with sexual demands and rants. For example, she says Giuliani flew her on a chartered plane and insisted she stay in his guest suite on the Upper East Side. She says they had a few drinks and he entered her suite uninvited and pressured her to perform oral sex.
Look, that sound like a bunch of bullshit. A handful of malarkey. She didn't say he forced her. Keyword, he pressured her. Now, we know you can't pressure nobody into giving fellatio. That's hard to do. Either you want to do it or you don't. Either you're going to do it or you're not. There's really no in between. That's why I say this whole thing is about Giuliani made a promise and he didn't pay. Do I hold that against him? 100%. He should have. If that's what he promised to the lady, he should have paid. If you want to say racist things and do all these things and be anti-Semitic and be sexist and you want to get BJs on the demand and all that, you got to pay if you look like him. You built like the penguin, man. Come on, brother.
The complaint even includes
Tell me you don't look like Danny DeVito. Look at him. Picture the tent. And what she was doing. She's standing there watching. She's getting ready to do her job. Come on now, y'all. Look, I'm not a Giuliani fan, but I am a fan of the truth. And like I just said, Giuliani was wrong for not living up to his end of the bargain. But she's wrong too. She wasn't in this just because she wanted to, a great job. He was over $1 million a year. What the hell was you doing? Ain't no job. The only job where she would earn $1 million a year, you're looking at it right here on the screen. This man pitched a tent, and a woman on the planet wanted to go into that little tent. Look at his look. Look at his little look. He didn't even take his glasses off. I don't even think he was going to pull his pants all the way down. This is one sick puppy. Unbelievable.
Giuliani in a similar scenario from the movie Borat's subsequent movie film. And during video conferences, Giuliani allegedly asked her to take off her clothes. She says he often demanded that Dunphy work naked, in a bikini, or in short shorts, with an American flag that he bought for her.
I mean, it sounds like Giuliani was on some player shit. I don't know. Hey, who don't want to see a woman cooking and working naked? And listen to me, for $1 million a year for her, that wouldn't have been a bad gig. But Giuliani, he forfeited, he fudged it. You got to pay up, Rudy. If not, she's going to come out with all these embarrassing pictures of you pitching a little bitty tent.
Dunphy says he demanded sex acts while on the phone with then President Trump. She also says Giuliani was rarely sober around her and made derogatory, bigoted, and anti-Semitic remarks. It's a compendium that, if true, has the man once known as a national hero in an inglorious spotlight. Now, Dunphy worked for Giuliani for 2 years and says she was only paid $12,000 in cash and some of her expenses were covered. She is...
Giuliani. I thought he had paid like $75,000, $100,000 a year. Giuliani only gave like 12. Giuliani was pimping. He only gave a lady $12,000. Come on, Giuliani. How low can you go? Obviously, all the way to the floor. What a low-life scumbag, Giuliani. I hear it again. I mean, Giuliani should truly be ashamed of himself. But, I don't want to share it. I don't have to hear it again. But Giuliani is one sick puppy. I just wanted to go over that clip because most of these white men in politics are the same exact way. Republican, Democrat, it doesn't matter. That's why I'm apolitical, and I tell people all the time, all of these people behind the scenes, they the same guy. Not that much of a difference. But this has been Sports, Life, and Politics TV. I'm Samuel Koppel, YouTube's #1 couch detective. And I'm here for the news. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. You just watched the Penguin pitch a small tent, and I just took you on one hell of a ride. Peace.